Okay, so we have started recording. Okay,
Yes,
let's
ma.
see whether we can finish what we have for today. My colleague will be starting, is it tomorrow or so? Tomorrow. So we want to look at sampling methods, types, techniques, and examples. So when one conducts a research on a group of people, it will normally be impractical to study the whole population. For example, when you are doing a questionnaire survey, sampling is a method that allows researchers to infer information about a population based on results from a subset of this population. We did the maths in secondary school, so when I say subset, you know what I'm talking about. You want to do you want to do a research work. It is not necessarily that everybody, your population of the study will be um, it's not it's not it's not possible that you will sample everybody, all the members, all the population. So there is a need for you to get a sample that can represent the population, so that any information you get from them, you can use it to generalize the population that you are studying. So sampling is the statistical process of selecting a subset, that's like a sample of a population of interest, for purposes of making observations and statistical inferences about that population. So it's not like, let's take for example, you are studying the internally displaced persons in Benue State.
Give me more mineral, bottled water, and this thing. And maybe the friends will go finish exam.
Mercy, please mute yourself. So it's not possible for you to go to all the IDP camps. You interview all the internally displaced persons. It's practically impossible. I don't know how you can do that. You go to the one in Agan, you go to one in Ichua, you go to all over, and then you say you must see all of them and interview all of them. So what you do is you take a sample that can represent all of them. So that's what we mean by sampling. So you cannot study the entire population, because one, the feasibility, the cost implication, the resources that will, the time before you even finish to go around to see all the IDP camps one by one, it will even take 3 years, if not more than. But this is a work that maybe required to be finished in maybe in 1 year or so. So that's why you have to take a sample. So we must select a representative sample from a population of interest for observation and for analysis. So you are now basing your study based on that sample you have collected. Anything you have from there, you can infer that it can represent the whole population. And that is why it's important you learn how to sample, so that whatever sample you are taking will assume that it has covered the whole population you meant to study, so that it will not be as if you just do anything anyhow. You just see people by the roadside, hey, are you an IDP camp? Even if you are not, just give me this information, and then you come back and you say it's for IDP camp. You know that it doesn't go down well, because the data you collected is not really from the IDP people. So that is the essence of the sampling. And you can see from my little diagram there that that's a population, is that one is circle with people wearing blue and something like white. All of them are the people that made up your population. Just like if you want to study IDP, internally displaced persons, and their trauma management. So that is all of them. So the ones in white, in black, in blue colors, or the ones in the white colors, in the ash colors, you can now say, okay, let me use the people in the blue color as my sample so that it can represent the whole population. It's allowed so that you do a good job, but you don't just sample anyhow. So that you should bear in mind. Go to the next slide. Here, well, I'm just trying to show you, because as time progresses, you hear me say sampling frame, sample, population. So population is a group you want to generalize, want to work on. Like our example, I keep using internally displaced persons in Benue State. That's my population. So my sampling frame is a list from where you can draw your sample. A list from where you can draw your sample. Like if I'm still working on IDP, internally displaced persons in Benue State, and I have already, in my methodology, I've already stated that I'm going to use the IDP camp in Ichua and the one in Agan. I think there is an IDP camp in Agan. Okay, so if I said I'm using the two of them to represent all the IDP camps in Benue State, so that Ichua and the Agan, I can easily get a list of the internally displaced person in Ichua. Hope I can do that. You know I can do that, right? And I can easily get from the one in Agan. And then that list is what I can refer to as my sampling frame. It's from that list that I will now draw my sample. I don't know whether I've been able to differentiate it from population. Please, can somebody talk to me here?
Yes. You have established a point, ma.
We are following you, ma.
We are following you, ma.
So it's just for you to know that when you are going to present your chapter 3, there's a place you do sample size selection, or they will be asking you what is your sampling frame and all that. So it's for you to know what sampling frame is. It's a list from where you are going to draw your sample. I don't know whether I can use another example, but there is that example, okay. Jiba.
Very okay.
Manasseh, okay.
Yes.
So then the next thing now you see is your sample. That's the actual unit selected for observation. So you start from population, you now get the place where maybe the target where you want to really study, and then that is your sample. You get a list of them, that's your sampling frame, and then you come to sample, generate your sample from the sampling frame. So we proceed. There are two main types of sampling methods. One is probability sampling method and non-probability sampling. Probability sampling, do you know what is the meaning of probability? What is probability? Tiokaso.
A likely occurrence.
Likely occurrence of something. So in this first one, probability, or we'll call it random sampling, there is a likely occurrence that somebody can be chosen, or somebody can be chosen, right? But in non-probability, that means there is no likelihood, it's just by chance. Okay, so, or by convenience. So in probability or random sampling, you start with a complete sampling frame of all the eligible individuals from which you select your sample. You can see the sampling frame has featured again. So from you get a sampling frame of all the people that are eligible to be your sample, to be in your population, to be in your study. So in this way, all eligible individuals have a chance of being chosen for the sample. So you will be more able to generalize the results from your study. So here, all the people in your sampling frame, they have equal opportunity to be chosen, equal opportunity to feature as your sample. So of being selected is more scientific. So all the members have an equal opportunity to participate in the sample with this selection parameter. So probability sampling method tend to be more time consuming and expensive than non-probability sampling. So because you wanted to do it, it's like the more scientific way of doing it, so that you ensure that anybody can be chosen. You are not biased. It's a free and fair thing. So it's not that you really wanted this person and so you want him to be in the sample. This one is just by chance. It can be this one, it can be another one. So in that way, you can really infer that this is the true representation of the population, because you didn't select who to choose. You didn't just choose by this one, I like this person, or this one is by convenience, I can just see him, let me just to use him. No, this one you gave everybody equal right, equal chance to be chosen. So so it's just for you to know, when you are using the probability, when you use probability sampling, that you have communicated to your reader that you did not do partiality, you did not, the research is not skewed, you did not, it's just they represent a fair representative of the population. So in non-probability sampling involves non-random selection based on convenience or other criteria, allowing you to easily collect data. So this one, it's not everybody that has equal opportunity of being selected. So in non-probability or non-random sampling, you do not start with a complete sampling frame. You may not, in some cases, you may not even know, you may not even have a list or this sampling frame that we're talking about. So some individuals have no chance of being selected. So by that, you have excluded some people from being selected as your sample population. So consequently, you cannot estimate the effect or sampling error. So what are we trying to say? That the other one try to minimize error because everybody who have been picked. So it's a fair representation of the population. But this one is that by convenience or other criteria, which you are going to see later, you just chose to pick the ones that appeal to you. Some people have no chance of being selected. And then by this, you already introduced a sampling error. One, please mute yourself. So by this, you have already introduced a sampling error into your sampling, into your analysis. And there is a significant risk of ending up with a non-representative sample, which produces non-generalizable results. So by the time you use non-probability, sometimes it may not be enough, it may not be proper for you to generalize the result that this is the result of this population, because you know that you didn't really give everybody equal opportunity to be selected. So, however, non-probability sampling methods tend to be cheaper and more convenient, and they are useful for exploratory research and hypothesis generation. So it's still not bad because it tends to be cheaper because you are doing it at your own convenience, and then you can use it for, it may not be for very strong research, but maybe for exploratory or hypothesis generation. So non-probability sampling techniques are often used in exploratory and qualitative research. In these types of research, the aim is not to test a hypothesis about a broad population, but to develop an initial understanding. Maybe you just want to have a random thing that will give you a clue on how to go about setting another hypothesis or another study, or to just explore, to know how this thing can be, you know. So that is probability and the non-probability sampling methods. So if you are asked which one will you use, who are those people talking? One, which of them will you use for your study? Is it the probability type or the non-probability type? She's not here now.
I'm just coming
One,
in. Yes.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah, that is why you are making noise.
I'm not making noise. I think
you are
I'm
making noise. Oh,
I'm not making noise. I'm just coming in.
Okay. So, but when you see the slide, you get it. It's not very difficult. One is probability, where everybody has equal chance of being selected. Then the other one is non-probability. You select based on convenience, based on availability, and anything that you can think about. The one that is easy for you to select, it becomes non-probability. The second one, the non-probability, has some error, sampling error. So you cannot really use it to generalize about the whole the population. But the probability one is more of a representative of the population. So that is what we have been saying since. So we'll go to probability sampling methods and we'll be able to see the types that we have. I put this one in a pictorial form, and I want you to see the first one is simple random sample. Second one is systematic. Nkema Konam. Please mute yourself. Simple random sample, systematic sample, stratified, and cluster sample. Just look at this picture for a while. In the simple random, you can see how anyone that you see that is ticked is the one that has been chosen as a sample. So you can see how randomly, not in any order, the blue one was chosen, the next one that was chosen was blue again, the next one blue, the next one blue, the next one is not blue, it's green. So in no particular order, any person can be taken in simple random sample. Then going to systematic, I just want to break it down so that when we're talking about it, you will still recall. Systematic, there is a system, you know. So you can see is the green one that was chosen. So after you count two more people, they choose another person. You understand? Are you seeing it? Hello, class.
Yes, ma, we're seeing.
Yeah, we
So
see,
yes.
can
So
see it, ma.
okay, after two people, they will pick another person, right? After another two people, no matter the color you have, but they arrange them serially, so they are picking at a systematically. So this one now, they are picking at the interval of two. After 2 persons, the third person is picked. So the same thing, after 2 persons, the third person is picked. After 2 persons again, the third person is picked, like that until you get to the number that you want. Okay. So stratified, you can see that they stay in different groups. They are in different colors, staying in different groups. So in this case, I want to see people. I don't want to just mix all of them up. I'm interested in getting to pick people that are in blue and to pick people that are in green. So what do I do here? I have to make the green stand out in one place, so that out of the green, I can now say I'm choosing 2 or 3 based on their population. Then the people that are in blue, I stand them out. And then I say I am picking 3 people from the blue based on their number. And then I'm picking 2 from the green. Why do I do that? I don't just want it to be like, let me see the one we did, like this first one, simple random sampling. The first one was chosen. The first one chosen was blue. This one, blue again, blue again, blue again. It's only 1 green. So me here, I am interested in knowing what is happening in the green color, what is happening in the blue color. So I don't want to leave that, to give that to chance, that let it be that they will just be at random. No, I want to stratify it so that I will be able to get, there's something I want to see, whether that thing is happening to the people in blue, in green color, that is in blue again. So I'll purposely set them aside so that I can choose a number that will represent them, so that when I finish the study, I will know that I have covered, my work covered even the blue and the green. I will not be biased. So that is stratified. Clustered. In clustered, you can see them here. It's like this other group, blue is there and green is there, one group. Another place, blue is there, green is there, right? So there are so many. So I can choose, and they are in clusters. So I can choose 2 or 3 clusters to represent the whole of the clusters, because I cannot study all of them. When we go inside, I'll tell you how you can choose any 2 or 3 of this group. It can represent the whole, because it may not be possible for me to study these people here, study all the 5 groups. So, but I can study 2 groups to represent these 5 groups. I don't know whether I have said anything that is meaningful. Please respond, or if, because we are going to deal with them in detail, this is just the picture. Should I continue?
Yes, ma.
Ma, you can continue.
Continue, ma.
Okay, thank you. So we are starting with simple random sampling. In this case, each individual is chosen entirely by chance. And each member, remember the name, because when you people want to write your report now, you will start saying, I chose people randomly. What is randomly? Did you see the name? Simple random sampling. That is a technique. So if you come now, the time I've seen so many of you now writing, I randomly selected. How? What method is randomly selected? I hope somebody's getting me. Because very soon you will be on your own for your project, and you'll be saying, I randomly selected 5 people from each zone. Sampling, that is the name, nothing else. So in this case, each individual is chosen entirely by chance, and each member of the population has an equal chance. Like I said, it can be anybody, it can be any person. It has equal chance or probability of being selected. your sampling frame should include the whole population. You don't exclude any part of the population. So everybody in that population has an equal right, equal chance of being selected. Example, you want to select a sample, a simple random sample of 200 students from a school. Here you can assign a number to every student in the class database from 1 to 500. So you need to get a sample of 500, 200 students, and the students are like up to 500. So what do you do? So well, you use a random number generator to select a sample of 200. You know what this is, what is it called? These people that do that they will say, yeah?
Adashi?
No, not Adashi. Oh, Adashi people may use it, yes.
Niger bet. Niger bet.
So this one, is like this, where they do raffle draw. Let me just use that one. That one appeals to everybody. When they do raffle draw, like they say, the first person will win television, the second person will win a refrigerator, this one will win generator and all that. So when they want to pick the number, what do? They normally mix the number together. That's a simple random sampling. They mix it so that nobody will say, it's because my card is in the other side. And they do it to something that rotates. Even if it's not something that rotates, but they make sure that they turn it very well so that everybody, yes, so that everybody has equal chance of being selected. So when they do that, they will start picking. And then if they pick you now, if they don't pick you, will you say that somebody has done anything bad to you? You will not complain because you were not selected. So in that case, that's the way you used to get this simple random. You give give number to the students. You write numbers from 1 to 500 and then put the number. If you pick 2, you call the person that's bearing 2 to come out. So you will be among the people I will go to select that will make up my 200 students. That is just a simple way. As with all probability sampling methods, simple random sampling allows the sampling error to be calculated and reduces selection bias. A specific advantage is that it is the most straightforward, the most common that students use, the most straightforward method of probability sampling. A disadvantage of simple random sampling is that you may not select enough individuals with your characteristics of interest, particularly if that characteristic is uncommon. Just like we saw in that diagram, that person wearing green, it was only one person that was selected. So the others were mostly the blue part. So what we are saying is that although it's a probability method, but it has its own limitations. Because if I am interested, for instance, in that group that is wearing that green color, and it's only one person that I'm sampling, I may not be able to infer, I may not be able to generalize the findings that everybody that is wearing green is included in that work. I don't know whether you are following. So you know that there is not everything that has merits has demerits, right? So as the sample size is large, the item is chosen randomly and it is known as representative sampling. It's a reliable method of obtaining information where every single member of the population is chosen randomly, merely by chance. Is there any question?
No question yet.
Okay, well, 30, 32. Okay. So we're finished with simple random sampling. We are going to systematic. In systematic sampling is similar to simple random sampling, but is usually slightly easier to conduct. Every member of the population is listed with a number. But instead of randomly generating numbers, individuals are chosen at regular intervals. Example, systematic sampling, all employees of a company are listed in alphabetical order. From the first 10 numbers, you randomly select a starting number, maybe number 6 or number 4 or number 3, any number, you can randomly select that one. From number 6 onwards, every 10th person in the list is selected. So that means you you randomly choose number 6. Then after you are doing in multiples of 10, so the 16th person will be selected again, the 26th person will be selected again, the 36th person will be selected again, and so on, 46, 56, in that order, until you get to the number, the sample that you needed. Is that okay? So if you use this technique, it's important to make sure that there is no hidden pattern. There is no hidden pattern in the list that might skew the sample. You know, it's not that you come and write all you say, okay, let me write the female first and the male second. In that case, it will be skewed. Yeah, I don't know whether you're getting, because if you say I'm going to select 20 students, and then you start writing the names, there are 100, probably there are 100, and I want to select 20 students, and I'll come and first of all start writing the names of the girls and then before the boys. So it's likely that the girls may be maybe 7, and by that you have made it possible, you have made it in a way that it may be only one girl that will be chosen. I don't know whether you're getting me, because if there are 7 and you listed the first 7, and I'm taking 6, the number 6, I may pick the number 6. The number 16 that I'll choose will be a man. Number 26 I'll choose will be a man, like that. So by this you have skewed, you have skewed the sample. You didn't allow it to flow naturally. So don't go and put a pattern in the list that you are preparing. So for example, if the HR database groups employees by team, and team members are listed in order of seniority, okay, there is a risk that your interval might skip over people in junior roles, resulting in a sample that is skewed towards senior employees. So that is the same thing I've explained. So don't let there be no pattern in the listing of the population. Any question? Can we go ahead? Should I move on?
Yes, ma'am.
Rosemary, yes. Rosemary, can you differentiate stratified, systematic and simple random sampling? Hello. The class is so dull. I'll give you test.
Systematic sampling. Systematic sampling is it's done in way of an order. An order where you have to pick a specific group of people, while random sampling is something that you just take differently. It's not in an orderly, let me use the word orderly manner. but you just pick from various places. Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So systematic, there's a system, there's a list, there's a way of picking. There's an interval that you give before you pick.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Stratified sampling. This sampling method is used when the elements of a population have different features and characteristics, and the researcher wants the sample to exhibit a proportional representation of the characteristics. The elements of the population are first grouped according to their features and characteristics. That is the stratified. In stratified sampling, the sampling frame is divided into homogeneous and non-overlapping subgroups called strata, and a simple random sample is drawn within each subgroup. Okay, stratified sampling involves dividing the population into subpopulation that may differ in important ways. It allows you draw more precise conclusion by ensuring that every subgroup is properly represented in the sample. To use this sampling method, you divide the population into subgroups called strata based on the relevant characteristics like gender, like identity, like age group, like income group, income bracket, or job role. Based on the overall proportion of the population, you calculate how many people should be sampled from each subgroup. Then you use random or systematic sampling to select a sample from each subgroup. I don't know whether I have been speaking to somebody. Here, what we do is that in that your population, you divide it or you share them into groups that we call strata, into different groups based on one particular or relevant characteristic that you are looking for. If, for instance, I'm doing a gender studies, for instance, I won't just come and use simple random sampling, because from experience, from what we have seen in this my diagram, let's assume that the males are the ones in blue, and then the females are the ones in green. So when I did that sampling, when I did that turning it and then generating the number, when I generated the number, from here we can see that it's a male, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 males were chosen. It's only 1 female that was chosen, and that will not allow me to do extensive work on my gender study. It will not allow me to like really study what the female folk are doing and what the male folk are doing, to compare. Maybe I'm comparing them, So if in that case now, the female are not well represented. It's not that I don't want to represent them in simple sampling, but that is, you don't have influence. It's just by chance. For this one, I want to purposely get them into groups so that, or maybe I'm even working on something that has to do with social class. I want to put people in their classes so that I will know how this hardship in this country is affecting the different classes. Because if I just do simple random sampling, I may not get the real ingredients of the result, of the analysis of the result. So the study. So I want to really deal with. I want to see the individual classes, how they are coping, how they are feeding, how they are surviving. So I would like to categorize my respondents into these groups so that now I can now use simple random sampling and get sample from each of these groups. There's lights. Okay. So that is that. So
yes, ma, I want to make a contribution.
Yes. Yes, you
Another
can.
example that we can liken this type of sampling techniques is, for example, you are studying Benue State, and you cannot go around the 23 local government to study the 4-point-something million people.
Yes, I'm with you.
I think we lost him also.
Network problem.
Let me try to build on what he was saying as a contribution. For stratified sampling, let's use the IDP camp for instance. Can anyone hear me?
Yes.
We're hearing you.
Yes,
Okay.
yes, you are hearing.
Yes. So when you go to the camp, you will want to know their vulnerabilities based on. You want to sample them based on their vulnerabilities, so that you'll be able to get the right information. So you can now divide those who are disabled differently. Divide widows differently. When you now divide the ones unaccompanied children, that's the ones who are less than 12 years without a father or a mother. You divide them differently. You also divide have I mentioned widows? So with that now, you will be able to
Why widowers too?
exactly widowers too. Then with that, you'll be able to know, you now be able to collect your data. So you will know you will know what is best for each vulnerable group.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy for your contribution. That means that what I'm saying is making much sense. It gives me joy to see that I can leave this class for you to continue. Thank you to Tioakoso. Thank you so much for your contribution. That example you gave perfectly fits in, and I'm so happy for that. So we can see that you have made my work easy. You want to see the different sections or different groups. You don't just want to study all of them at once, like broad like that. You want to see how each individual, like somebody that is working on that trauma, you want to see how the widows are faring, how this group are faring, how and all that, so that your work can be a clear representation of the group of the population, so that you can now infer, you can now conclude, you can now make some generalization that yes, you can beat your chest and say yes, I really did an in-depth work. So I'm so happy. Example, a company has 800 female employees and 200 male employees. You want to ensure that the sample reflects the gender balance of the company. So you sort the population into two strata based on gender. Then you use simple random sampling on each group, selecting 80 women and 20 men. And another thing I want to point out here is that, in the sense that is already pointed out here, that you select sample based on the population of each of the strata. Okay, now if like here you are seeing that they have 800 female and 200 male. Some of us, that's the students I've been with over the years, not be today now. So what they do, one student will tell you is that I chose, if I need 100 respondents out of this 800 female and 200 male, that is 1,000, right? if I need 100, you know how students will do. And I don't want you to do like that. The student will come and tell you that I use 50 male and 50 female. Tiokaso, Tioakoso. It's not correct. You are not using 50 because the students will say, I went to the camp, I each council word. You don't do like that in research. You select your sample based on the population of that sample. So in this case now, we have 800 female employees. If you come and collect 50 female and 50 male, in that work now, when you finish the whole work, the rotation of the female that are 800, and you chose only 50, and the male are 200, and you chose 50. So which one will have the more characteristics of that your study? Is it not the male? Because there were few and you selected them, you are like almost selecting almost everybody. But the people that are more, you selected them a few. So in that case, your study is already skewed towards the male. I don't know whether you are getting it. Your study is already skewed towards the male. So it's not good for you to come and say, I select 50 from this side, 50 from this side. No, you select based on their population. So if their population is low, you select a low. So in this case, we use a percentage. We normally apply a percentage. Maybe what if it's 10% or 5%, some cases it may be 1%. So that percent now, you apply it to their population. It will give you their proportionate sample, the sample that will be proportionate to their population. To teach this, but it's very important that you know, so that you will not go about telling your supervisor, I select 10 from each. What's the question I will ask my student? Do they have the same population? These castle words that you are selecting 10 or 20. Oh, I went to the market and from all the markets, each of the markets, I'll select 20. Do you have equal number there? If you don't have equal number, what you use is a percentage. Look at what is done here. Because you are looking for 100 people, and we have 1,000. So 100 over 1,000 is like 10%. So you apply 10% for 80 women. 10% of 200 will give you 20 men. You can see now that the equation is balanced. You are selecting 80 from female because they are more. You are selecting 20 from male because they are less. I hope I have said something.
Well understood,
so,
well understood, ma.
After listening to this my class and this all these efforts we are putting in, and then you still write I selected 5, 10. I don't want to see that. I don't want to even hear it. You said that's why I was talking about sampling frame. The sampling frame is always there to guide you on the number that exists in that area that you want to sample. So from that sampling frame, like this one now, the sampling frame is 800 female and 200 male. That's the sampling frame. From there now, you apply that percentage and you get the number that you are looking for. That should be okay. So note, it will be appropriate to choose, that's what I've just explained, to choose the sample number from each group proportionally. Don't just take across board like my student. I don't know whether other other lecturers they used to say like that. I take across board. It's not scientific. So it should be proportional. So to the best bet is to use percentage. Apply it on your sampling frame to be able to get what number you are supposed to get from each of the strata. So stratify of the results by reducing sampling bias. You can bear with me that it has reduced. However, it requires knowledge of the appropriate characteristics of the sampling frame. What the problem mainly is, I don't know where to get the sampling frame. I don't know how to get their number. There are some things they will be studying. It will be very difficult to have sampling frame from where you can draw all this. When you go to the organizations, maybe you are working on farmers and you go to Beneda and ask them what are the maize farmers in Benue, which they are supposed to have, they'll tell you they don't have. So you source for it. You source for it. So because that improves the quality of your research. So however, okay, it requires you having a sampling frame, the details of which are not always available, just like I've said, and it can be difficult to decide which characteristics to stratify by. That's another thing. If not, this method is very well okay. So can we move on to cluster sampling? From the look of things, it's like we will finish everything because we have already lost some hours. We'll just blow everything and finish up. I think that should be okay, right?
It's 1,600. That is 8 copies. 1,600.
1,600 what? Okay. So Agbo, abeg, mute yourself. Let's continue. I was saying to Ako, so if you can hear me, whether we can blow till we finish because it's many small for us to round up.
Yes, man. It's better.
Continue, please.
Call it a day.
It's better we just blow and round up once.
Okay. Oh, okay. It's okay. So cluster sampling here, if you have a population dispersed over a wide something, I can't see what is written here. So you conduct a simple random sampling of the entire
geographical region.
Yes.
Wide geographical region.
Okay, if you have a population dispersed over a wide geographical region. Yes, thank you. How is not possible, it may not be possible for you to use simple random sampling for the entire population. Let's assume that you are studying, you are researching on the whole country. This our country, Nigeria, that has 36 states, FCT, it has 6 geopolitical zones, and you want to cover and use simple random sampling. I don't know when you will finish. So in such case, it may be reasonable to divide the population into clusters, usually along geographical boundaries. Randomly sample a few clusters and measure all units within that cluster. This method is used when it's impractical or inexpensive population. In a clustered sample, groups of the population are used as a sampling unit rather than individuals. The population is divided into subgroups known as clusters, which are randomly selected to be included in this. Is good for dealing with large and the span of error in the sample as difference between clusters. It's difficult to guarantee that the sampled clusters are really representative of the whole population. Example, a company has 10 offices in 10 cities across the country, all with roughly the same number of employees in similar roles. We can look at something First Bank. Is it possible for me to go to all the branches of the First Bank in this country before I finish it? Or is there any way I can go about it? So you don't have the capacity to travel to every office to collect your data. So you use random sampling to select 3 offices. Like I am studying First Bank to know how they administer loan to farmers and all that. I may not need to go to all the First Bank in the whole country because there is similarity in their banking policy. Whatever is obtained here in Makurdi should be in other places as well. And the everything is about almost the same. So I can as well just randomly select some clusters, select some branches that I can say will be a representative of the whole population of First Bank. So an educational institution has 10 branches, just like Unity School. I want to study the effectiveness of teaching in Unity School. Will I be able to go to all the Unity schools in this country before I can do that? Or is there any other way to go about it? You can randomly select some Unity schools and use them as cluster and select your sample there, do whatever you want to do there, and do your research, and everything will be okay, because whatever applies here is likely to apply in other places because of the similarity. So an educational institution has 10 branches across the country with almost the same number of students. If we want to collect some data regarding facilities and other things, you can't travel to every unit to collect the required data. Hence, you can use random sampling to select 3 or 4 branches as clusters. I hope this is clear too. Do we get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Very.
We can. Icheme. Icheme.
Yes, we are getting you. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, you are getting.
I said it's
Thank
very
you.
clear.
Thank you. Okay. So
thank you.
So as you are doing this, you will be thinking of which method you will use for your proposed topic. That's why I said as we are going along, we should be thinking of your topic. So we are finished with probability. So now we are entering the non-probability sampling. And like I did in the other time, I have to still, maybe the picture may appeal to us and may help us to remember. Okay. Here we have 4 types: convenience, purposive, snowball, and quota sample. So you can see from my pictures there, in convenience, this is the researcher, that's the one in ash color, is the one standing there. So you just sample those that are convenient, so those that you can reach easily. You can see that other people far away were not sampled by him. He only sampled those that are close by, those that he can reach easily, just like some of you used to do. When you want to go to the field, you don't want to suffer. You just, any person that is just at your convenience, you just sample. It's a method, but you will see the advantages and the disadvantages as we go on. Then you look at purposive. purposive. I have something in mind. I have a target. I have something that is dragging me that I'm looking for to in my analysis. So maybe, okay, let me give you for instance, we use it so much in agri, where you are, maybe I am studying on maize production. I can't go to a place where they don't farm maize and say, I want to do random sampling. Hello, class. Please mute yourself. Why are you all talking? Is there any problem? Am I too fast?
No, ma, we are following you. We are following you.
Okay. So I always use agric, don't mind me. So if okay, let me even use your own. If I want to study IDP camp or internally displaced person, I won't go to IDP camp. Is it not the places where I will purposely say I am going to Agan, I am going to this place. I can't come to federal housing where people are living on their own. They are not displaced. I say, okay, that should be my study. Or I go to high level. I say, I just want my work to be a simple random this so that everybody can get equal chance to be interviewed. It doesn't make sense. You purposely go to where your sample, your population is, and then you sample from there. You are studying maize production or rice production, and if I am studying anything like soybean production, I should look at the places like Taka, Wanune, right? These are the places, or Boko, all these axes. I can't come to, I don't know where they don't farm it, yeah. I can't come to a place where they don't farm soybean and say that should be my sample area. But you purposely, because of, that maybe that is where the population you are looking for exists. So in this case now, if you are using purposive sampling, please always bear in mind that you must state the reason why you are choosing the sample. You understand? If you are choosing this, you are purposely selected, or I'm purposely sampling this and that. There must be a reason, underlying reason. You must write it for your reader, so that your reader will not be asking you, why didn't you sample Alede? Why didn't you sample Otupo? Why did you go to here? The reason is already written, so it doesn't need to ask you again. So I hope you are following. You can see the researcher wearing that gray color. You can see how far, where he's going. It's not people that are close to him like Inconvenience. He's going far, anywhere that his respondents are. He purposely go there to fish them. I hope that is clear. Icheme John, am I still online?
Very well. Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So snowball is just to give you an abridged explanation before we go. Snowball, the researcher is in the middle. You can see this person wearing green. You are doing research that you don't even know your respondent. It's possible. You are doing work on let me say, what they call this? Okay, drug addicts. You are working on drug addicts, and you don't really, do you really know them? Unless you are a drug addict for yourself before you can say I know all of them. So in this case now, your respondents are people that you don't even know, and you may not even know where they are. So what you do here is like a referral. If you have somebody, or you get somebody, one person, the person will now refer you. Some of you did this marketing, this online marketing, that they will say refer. So You understand me better here. If I get this man in green and I'll interview him, I may beg him to, please, can you tell me another person that can answer this questionnaire that I can interview? Then he gave me like that. Or somebody, I'm doing work on HIV stuff. You know that it's not written on the face that you can see. I've seen this woman, she has it, let me go. You don't know them unless you are one of them. So you need a referrer, maybe somebody that will be telling you. If somebody, this method is not an easy one. You need somebody that will tell you, that will give you a clue that, okay, this person you can go, or this person that you can go, to refer you to where you need to collect data, because on your own, you may not know them. Then quota. Quota is, you know what quota is now? When they give Nigeria quota, OPEC, this is the number you bring. So this place, there is a starter, there is a grouping, but in that grouping there is a quota that this must get to this, or this must be like that. There must be a number that I am looking for in this group, like that. So let's go and look at them individually. I think our work is almost done. Okay. So convenience or accidental sampling. A convenience sample simply includes the individuals who happen to be the most accessible to the researcher. Convenience sampling is perhaps the easiest method of sampling because participants are selected based on availability and willingness to take part. This is an easy and inexpensive way to gather initial data, but there is no way to tell if the sample is representative of the population. That's the demerit now. So it cannot produce generalized results. Convenience samples are at risk of sampling bias and selection bias. So when you do sampling by convenience, you should bear in mind that you should not generalize anyhow, because the sample you took may not be a true representative of the population. This non-probability sampling method is used when there are time and cost limitations in collecting feedback. In situations with resource limitations, such as the initial stages of research, convenience sampling is used. For example, startups and NGOs usually conduct convenience sampling at a mall to distribute leaflets of upcoming events or promotion of a course. They do that by standing at the mall entrance and giving out pamphlets randomly. Example, you are researching opinions about students' support systems in your university. So after each of your classes, you ask your fellow students to complete a survey on the topic. This is a convenient way to gather data, but you only survey students taking the same courses as you at the same level. The sample is not representative of all the students in the university. I hope that is very clear.
Yes, ma, we're following.
Very clear,
Yes,
ma.
of course, bearing in mind non-probability, you may not be able to generalize it that this is how the whole population is, or that is the characteristics of the whole population. And purposive, this technique relies on the judgment of the researcher when choosing who to ask to participate. Researchers may implicitly thus choose a representative sample to suit their needs, or specifically approach individuals with certain characteristics. This type of sampling, also known as judgment sampling, involves the researcher using their expertise or knowledge to select a sample that is the most useful to the purpose of the research. As their knowledge is instrumental in creating the sample, there are the chances of obtaining highly accurate answers with a minimal marginal error. It is also known as judgmental sampling or authoritative sampling. It's often used in qualitative research where the researcher wants to gain detailed knowledge about a specific phenomena rather than make statistical inferences. Judgment sampling has the advantage of being time and cost effective to perform while resulting in a range of responses particularly useful in qualitative research. However, in addition to volunteer bias, it is also prone to errors of judgment by the researcher and the finding, while being potentially broad will not necessarily be representative. Example, purposive sampling, you may want to know more about the opinion and experiences of disabled students in the university, so you purposely select a number of students with different support needs in order to gather data on their experiences with students. So you have seen that number one disadvantage here is that what if, because we are relying on the expertise of the researcher, what if the researcher does not have the expertise to know that this is the real place? Like me, I am talking about soybean production. I may not be the, I might not even know or I may choose wrongly. Like me now, you heard me saying Nganune and Boko. There may be another place that is being produced more than these two. So you can see that error has already started entering the sampling and subsequently in the results that will follow. So that is for purposive or judgmental or judgment or any authoritative, anyone that you can, but purposive is more generally accepted. So is that clear? Is there any question for now? Is there any question? So now you people are not asking me question, I'm scared. Yeah.
Maybe because we are understanding you very well, ma.
Time will tell. Okay, so let's continue. We'll go to the slow ball. We have already explained them, just to read it out for more. Dosu Iba. Dosu, do you have a question? Hello? I assume that there is no question. Slow ball sampling is also known as chain referral sampling technique. When the subjects or respondents are difficult to trace or hard to assess, investigating hard to reach groups, snowball sampling can be used to recruit participants via other participants. In this method, the researcher first identifies and interviews a key informant that has the requisite characteristics in the study area and uses him or her to identify another respondent. Every respondent interviewed becomes an informant to give the name of another person that can be interviewed who is in the same profession with him or her. The number of people you have access to snowball as you get in touch with more people. The downside here is also representativeness, as you have no way of knowing how representative your sample is due to the reliance on participants recruiting others. This can lead to sampling bias. This method is commonly used in social sciences when investigating hard to reach groups. Existing subjects are asked to nominate further subjects known to them. So the sample increases in size like a rolling snowball. You can see how the name came about. As you are bringing somebody, the person is bringing another person. That's how the sample size is increasing. For example, when carrying out a survey of risk behaviors among intravenous drug users, participants may be asked to nominate other users to be interviewed. Example, snowball sampling. You are researching experiences of homelessness in your city. Since there is no list, no sample, that's what we are saying here, is that in snowball sampling, you don't have a sampling frame, so to speak. You may not, in most cases, I don't know whether there are some that you may have, but you may not, because why I'm saying you may have in some places, if I'm doing work on HIV, for instance, HIV patient, I may get the sampling frame from maybe a hospital. Or, or if I'm doing a work on known defaulters, people that go to bank and take loan, or not even defaulters, maybe I'm just studying how CBN or how Union Bank gives loan to farmers. So I want to see the farmers, but I don't know them. So I can equally approach the bank and say, please help me with the list of the people you have given loan. So that is, by the way, that one may not be under snowball. But the one I'm talking that may be under snowball, where you may have their sampling frame, although I don't know how possible is that. I want class to share. Is it possible if I approach maybe hospital where this patient go to get their retroviral drugs, I may approach the person in charge and say, please give me the list of them so that I can do work. I am studying this and that. I want to get them, but I don't know them. So with your list and maybe address, I can get them.
That
So I'm just
aspect,
thinking
that
aloud.
aspect of HIV, that one is confidential. That one, they will not even agree to even give you any document
They will not,
that is
they will not give me right
pertaining.
to.
Yes.
Okay, so I was just thinking aloud that, okay, what if I am a health practitioner? I'm not just seeing myself now as a lecturer. Let me see myself now as coming from NGO that want to intervene on their health. I'm not just studying them for the sake of my study or the sake of my academics. But now I am coming to study them so that I will have an intervention for them. Will they not allow me to have? That's what came to my mind. I don't know. Will they not give me?
There are ethical concerns. So
There are ethics.
yes.
Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
okay. Let me come in.
You may apply for it, and because it's coming from the side of intervention, you also have to sign confidentiality forms and other things, forms non-disclosure, to ensure that you don't take it out
For other
by the
things.
purpose of what you want to do. But then there's a procedure. They cannot just give you in one day.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine. That's fine. Is there any contribution to that?
Yes, just like you said, There are a lot of processes to follow before you can be allowed to have access to such documents in the hospitals.
Have access.
Yeah. Just like if you're coming for an intervention purposes, of course, you are going to sign confidentiality documents with them that you're not going to review any of these secrets to anybody. And if you even have to interface with them facially, it's going to take a lot of processes that you follow and a time to interface with them in the hospital. Then you can be allowed to follow each of them home and follow and do your subsequent follow-up. So it's not just immediately, because they have to know you and they have to know that, yes, you are coming from a very secure place and you are going to put their privacy in check.
Okay, thank you, Mrs. Eche. Thank you for that contribution. So you can bear with me now that what we are saying in essence is that is not in all cases that you may not be able to get a sampling frame. In this case, if we are a researcher, like I said in the features of researchers, research, you have to be patient. If I really want that list to come, they are telling me now that it cannot be one day. Yes, I'll be patient. For me to go again, I'll go again until finally I get the sampling frame. Then I can now sample to get a meaningful, because research is not just to research and graduated, is to make impact, to solve a problem. So if it is for you to do that and get what you want meaningfully, why not? I can wait. I can write all the letters, I can sign all the documents they'll give me, I'll sign, provided that I get what I want. So thank you for that contribution. And the main thing here we are saying is that in slow ball, you are sampling people that you don't know, probably you don't know them, and you don't even know how to get them sometimes. So that is the point. But if you know how to get about them, get somebody, they will refer you to another one, another person will refer you to another person. Sometimes this kind of sampling may be dangerous. Maybe you are dealing with hard drug addicts, and then they will ask you, how did you know that I smoke? How do you know that I take this drug and all that? So, and sometimes you are one of them that you take the same thing that they take, so before they can answer you. So these are some of the things that are involved. Please, Eche, you can talk.
Yes, ma. Like another example of this snowball. Is like when you take carrying out survey among sensitive groups like MSN. MSN means men having sex with men.
Woo! That's hormonal.
Yes, and lesbians. Those groups before you.
Why are you not using gas? Why are you not using gas?
I say lesbians too, please. They are very sensitive and very difficult to penetrate. Yes. Very sensitive group and very difficult to penetrate.
That's it.
By the time you get one person, because this is what I do, sir. I do my field. Before you get to one of them, when you get one of them, before you get the second one, it has to be very intense. And then a lot of questioning, a lot of questions will be asked. Why do you want to know? How do you get to know me? How, why, and why do you want to know our community? Before they link you to their community, it must be an intervention or it must be something that is beneficial to them before you get to them. Like they are the most difficult people to penetrate.
Okay.
Apart from the are even easy to get, but those set of people, they are very difficult to get.
Okay. For that example, a typical one again. Very, but you don't even know who your respondents are. And then to get them out is another
problem.
Another difficult thing to do. So thank you for that. And you can bear with me when I say research. In research, you have to be patient, and you have to bear some things. Sometimes you have to just do some things. Some insults. They can insult you. If it is a drug addict, he can insult you, if not beat you up, sir. So a snowball with all these examples. So can go ahead, right? Can I continue?
Yes, ma'am.
Quota is the last one. This is used where a stratified sampling is needed. Where did we see stratified? Stratified was in probability, but this one is non-probability. So what we are saying is that it looks like stratified, right? So this is used where a stratified sampling is needed, but the various strata and size of members in each stratum are not known. You can see the difference. You need to have it in different strata, in different groups, just like we had in stratified. But in this case now, the group and you are not known, they are not familiar to you. In the quota sampling method, the researcher forms a sample that involves the individuals to represent the population based on specific traits or qualities. The researcher chooses the sample subset that brings the useful collection of data that generalizes the entire population. This method of sampling is often used by market researchers. Interviewers are given a quota of subjects of a specified type to attempt to recruit. For example, an interviewer might be told to go out and select 20 adult male men, 20 adult women, 10 teenage girls, 10 teenage boys, so that they could interview them about their television viewing. Okay. Ideally, the quotas chosen would proportionally represent the characteristics of the underlying population. In the quota sampling method, the researcher forms a sample that involves the individuals to represent the population based on specific traits or qualities. The researcher chooses the sample subset that brings the useful collection of data that generalizes the entire population. While this has the advantage of being relatively straightforward and potentially representative, the chosen sample may not be representative of other characteristics that are not considered as a consequence of the non-random nature of the sample. So yeah, what are we talking about? Who can explain this to us? Who can explain quota to us? Quota sampling. If it's in a physical class, I will say 10 marks.
Okay. Okay, ma. So let me explain so that I'll get the 10 marks. Okay. So quota sampling. When it is quota, it means the population is divided in such a way that there is a percentage allocated to every respondent, or let me say every group of respondents. For instance, if you want to if you want to interview women who are into drugs, women who are into same-sex marriage, men who are into drugs, and men who are into same-sex marriage. That's 4 groups. So it's like a stratified kind of sampling anyway. So in this, but then in this quarter, maybe you might be giving that there are more men who are into drugs than women who are into drugs. So invariably, maybe you give that side, let's say you give them 40%, you give this other side 60%. Then in the side of women and men, they said there are more lesbians than there are more men into sex marriage. Same sex. So you now give the other side 60 and this side 40. So it ensures that the 40% that you have given, you will need to meet it up to ensure that your research is not biased. So the quota you are giving them is expected that they will meet it up.
Okay, thank you for the attempt. I'll give you 8/10. You have tried.
Okay.
This Rosemary, you want to try?
Yes, ma.
Rosemary.
Yes, please.
Go ahead.
Okay, quota sampling, it's not like the probability sampling where everyone is given an opportunity to participate. And it's also not like the simple random where it's by chance. Here, it's just a specific quota, like a specific group of people that are picked out of a large crowd to represent the variables or to represent those who are, let's say, represent the sample. So it's a specific group of people picked out of a large crowd to represent these samples. And you do it in such a way where your picking in each of the quotas that have been selected will be proportional to what you're doing.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you, Rosemary. I have seen, I've said it here that it's just mostly used by market researchers. I was a market researcher. In fact, my work is on marketing. Anything about researching in markets, come to me. When I was going to the field, I told you, is it yesterday that I did on the marketing of soya beans. And then before I go to the field, you know that this one now, because I don't really know the number of marketers, I've already divided my respondents. I have the people I call wholesalers. The wholesalers, I know that I said, okay, I am going to select, like, wholesalers are not usually many in the market. I said, okay, I'm going to select 4 in this market that have come. Then retailers, there are many. Then this is it baranda? They call it baranda, but I call them rural assemblers. My distance. So these rural assemblers, there are many, they are the majority. Like those rural assemblers, majority of them are producers. They bring the one they brought from their farm, they sell, or they keep it and be buying other their neighbors or their other farmers' own and put in their own bag. And maybe by the close now sell to maybe the wholesaler, or they sell to somebody that is a company agent, like that. So when I was going, I don't know the number that is already there. I don't know whether you are getting it. The quota is more like a stratified. But in this case, you don't have the number. In this case, you don't know the number. In the stratified, I keep on telling you that the probability sampling you are supposed to have a sampling frame. In this case now, even if there is a sampling frame in that market, it changes by day. It changes by the market, you understand? So you cannot tell me that you are using a sampling frame to go to the market. Maybe all the people that you want to go and see may not even, the people in the sampling frame that you have may not even come today. You understand? So it's more of you don't know who your respondents are. So but you have already made like a quota that I am going to get rural assemblers 20, retailers 15, wholesalers 5. That is the way you have already planned to get the different groups. So that is how quota sampling goes. Is you don't know the number, you don't have sampling frame here, but you want to study, your study will not just be one group. There is like you are studying so many groups inside that population. I don't know whether I have said something meaningful. It's rarely used, but it's a part of sampling that we use, especially as is a non-probability sampling. So in that time, in that place now, I have a quota that this is what I will be getting. This is the quota, this is the number I will be having, like that. So I hope this is clear so that we can go to the last slide before I say thank you. Where are these, my friends? Jigba, Abu, Sesu.
Now we are all here.
Okay.
We are
so
all
I should
here.
go ahead.
Yes,
It's not
ma'am.
only Jigba, we are all here.
Our number has been. This, who is that? Okay, Chagu, Ted. Chagu, I didn't hear your voice.
I've been following you all the way.
Okay, that's good
Well done,
to
man.
hear. Thank you. All right, so let's finish off so that everybody will be free. Then the importance of sampling. Is it important? Is there any importance in sampling? Why can't we take everybody? We go to the field, if there are 200, collect all the 200. At least it makes your work that everybody in the population is represented. Is it possible? Is there any benefit of sampling? One is that it's cost reduction. It has a cost reduction. Your pocket will tell you when you want to study the first bank in the whole of this country, and I have to go around to all the first bank in the whole of this country. My time, my money, everything will be consumed. It reduces cost, it reduces time, it's time saving. And sometimes the inaccessibility of the entire population. Sometimes it may be difficult to access the entire population due to poor terrain. Our country is something else. I once did a work in Abuja, the one I told you about, and there was a place we have to go when we were looking at, when we were supervising what our numerators were doing for us in the field. That place, high God of Nazareth. We have to get to a place that you feel as if you are entering a ditch like that. We have to pack every all the vehicles we came with. We have to trek down, enter the river, cross the river, climb one thing that looks like hill, and then before we get to the village. And when we were doing all this, I said, human beings are living here. They said, don't worry, madam. When we get there, you will see. When we got there, that at the end of that place, in the village, I call them village, they are in Abuja. when we got there, you see how those people are very happy, as if they are just in the world of their own. If you go there, you will not imagine what you pass through before going there. So some places like that, how do you go about it? How do you go about it? And even now that the security situation has not been so friendly, how do you go round and round and round? In fact, that time my supervisor here was coming. He came to my owner was in Abuja. He went to Nasarawa, Lafia, Nasarawa State to visit the person in Nasarawa State. He said immediately they passed these people, this herdsmen struck, and the man was, in fact, when he came to me, he was telling me that he nearly. So you can see how impossible it is for you to assess the whole population. And then result accurate samples are easier to handle than the population. Even if you have all that it takes, all the money, all the time, all the access road and the accessibility to collect all the data, what of the collation, the analysis, and the reporting? How sampling is good. And then the destructive nature of some research. And industries involve the death or damage of the specimen at the end of the experiment or research. So if the entire population is therefore used for the study, none will be available at the end of the study. So in case you are using something and maybe these people that go to lab and the research will lead to the death of the specimen, the sample you are using. So assuming you are using the whole population, that means there will be no specimen for somebody else to use the next day. So uniformity of the population, where a population is uniform or homogeneous in its characteristics, a sample provides accurate representation. So using the entire population, amount to waste of resources and human effort. It must be stressed that there are no common disadvantages ascribed to sampling, as every sampling technique has its own drawback. So here I'm not trying to tell you that, use really simple, the random sampling, or use stratified, or use this. Each of them has its own merits and own demerits. So the one that appeals to you, you can use. So this is where we draw the curtain for this course.
A network.
Network.
Network, oh, we are not hearing. I'm not hearing.
Thank God that the network is coming late.
Okay, she has even gone out. The network has logged her out.
Jigba, so what's next? Jigba, can you hear me?
So class, yeah, as you can see, she is true. So invariably, there is no class in the afternoon again.
Mr. Fayam, Mr. Fayam.
Sir.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon, sir.
Last time, Dr. Ochalebe said he was going to push his material. I don't know whether he has done that because the material